to set. Okay, there's a couple people on. And just getting used to where this is gonna set up. So y'all that are online, hello. And we're just kind of getting going here. And I think that's a pretty good angles. Good morning, friends. I'm just going to do a little chanting before class. And if you could, maybe write in the comments on how this image is being projected onto your screen. So if it's clear, there's a little bit of a sunlight coming in, and I don't know the degree to which you can see that. So. Hi there. Yeah. So I'm live already, and I'm just going to do a little chanting. And good morning, welcome. And I felt like, since this was my inaugural class here, I do a little chanting to Ganesha. And we know that this is the energy that removes obstacles, and we always invoke at the start of things, at the beginning of things. So if there's something that's kind of manifesting in your life itself, you feel that you want some support for that. Call this in. We invoke you with offerings, Lord of the multitudes. We invoke you with offerings, Lord of love. We invoke you with offerings, guardian of the treasure. Come and sit within us, revealing the realm of the great spirits within us. Yes, revealing the realm of the great spirits within us. Samudascha Kapilokajikaranakaravadorascha Dikata Vimanasha Vinayakaha Dhumiketo Ganataksha Bhavachandra Gajananaha Dvapashaitani Mamani Yahapate Chinyadati Vijayaramedivahicha Praveshe Nirgamekata Sangame Sukate Chaiva Vinastasya Najayate Vignabali Putaraya Shri Ganahi Pataye Namaha Vakratunda Mahakaya Suri Proti Samaprabha Havinam Kurume Deva Sarvakayeshu Sarvada Shukram Paradagam Vishnu Shashivanam Chaturjam Prasanna Vanamandaye Sarvavigna Prashantaye Navastesham Jayastesham Bhutastesham Purajaya Yesham Nivarashamo Hridayasya Janaranaha Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. And just bring your attention into the heart space. The next mantra is inviting Ganesh to take a seat in asana in the heart. Om Nanaratnasamavittam Muktaharavidushitam Sanasam Asanam Chara Yachatam Pativriyam Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha Om Nararatnasamavittam Muktaharavidushitam Sanasam Asanam Chara Yachatam Pativriyam Feels right. Cool. So good morning, everyone, on this day. And for any of you that are newer to this class or the stream, we go to about 10:15, and there are kind of three different sections. Four, actually. I'll do a little kind of conversation, and then our asana practice, then our pranayama practice, and then our meditation practice. So it's a pretty full morning. And so I'm going to just slip a little closer to those of you who are here on the stream. Thanks, friends, for joining. Tammy, thank you. It's great to be back. Yeah. And Beth, so nice you're here. Sam and Maggie, Bill, good morning. Chigeko. And yeah, and if there's any like positioning on how the video is running here that isn't working for y'all, let me know. And we have some people here in the studio that have joined. And so Sarah, I'm looking at, and she's been a regular for the last year. She even came to Shivalaya, and so this is really exciting for all of us. And we're at Ahimsa Yoga, which is on 6th Avenue here downtown, and this will be a regular for me and things. And I wanted to talk about Ahimsa today. Ahimsa, and we know this in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. It means essentially nonviolence or non-harming. And to kind of back up into that a little bit, in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali and what's called Book 2, Sadhanapad, there's a teaching of Ashtanga Yoga, the 8-limb path of yoga. And it begins with the first 2 limbs are called the Yama and the Yama. And the Yama are, restraints. And then the Yamas, their niyamas are observances. And so ahimsa is, in other words, to restrain violence or to be nonviolent. And it's a really interesting teaching because it means in thought, action, and word. And so if you just kind of let that sink in a little bit, it's not so much just of not being, say, violent in your actions. It's also your language and also your thoughts. And when you kind of unravel that a little deeper, one is more exists on a gross level, and then the most subtle level is the thinking. And I would say in the last, a bit of time here in our country or otherwise, there's been a lot of volatility, and that's, clearly an understatement. But what I would offer with that is what my teacher, Baba Hari Das, said about nonviolence is whenever we're defending individual identity, violence appears in the mind. So one might even say it's the self-righteous belief systems that we may hold on virtually anything. There's a patterning of violence that can appear in the mind just in the act of defending belief system. And that's very, very subtle. It's very, very refined. But understand what these teachings were about. I mean, it was to create the capacity for the mind's ability to concentrate in what's called ekagrata, and that is a one-pointed mind. And so in these teachings, we're really trying to refabricate the capacity of our mind in such a way that it has such a high state of refinement that it can sit in a meditative state and focus on eka, on one thing, without any interruption, if you will. And it was interesting, there's a story about the Dalai Lama, and this is a true story. He was walking at one point with his attendants, in India, and a person came up and was angry and started yelling and different things. And the Dalai Lama didn't react at all. And then the person eventually left. And then he, turned to his attendants that were with him, and he said, where did the anger go? And they're like, I don't know, and he just said, it went back onto that person. And so with kind of the moral of the story being, when we feel, the volatility, say, of anger, it's in us. We may be projecting it out, and that can harm other people, but it also is harming ourselves. And that's really like one of the biggest things that we must understand around himsa, or violent actions, that it's harming ourselves. And so then that vibration is internalized, and then when we sit, say, in our practice, it's, say, not as effective. And I was kind of thinking, like, we're all getting on our yoga mats and doing our asanas and things and different things, and gosh, we get done, we feel so good, and then we, go out and we respond into the world with our intensity, and it just doesn't seem in alignment. It just doesn't make sense to me at all, And so, but then, like, there's this other teaching in the sutras that say whenever a negative thought appears in the mind to dwell, on its opposite, right? And that's the way, literally, the Yoga Sutras were this method of completely transforming our being long before the understanding of neuroplasticity existed in science. And it was already in, like the Yoga Sutras. And so when we consider that for a moment, then what is, say, the opposite of Ahimsa or violence? Well, it's peace, right? And so I really am a firm believer that how we practice our yoga, everything can create a really conducive environment for a peaceful existence. And we have to go back to it again and again and again. It isn't something that's automatic, if you will, and we have to stay in practice too. We have to continue to, format, these energies inside of us. And so, Nicole, the founder of Ahimsa Yoga, is here this morning, and so just really want to honor this idea of nonviolence, non-harming, and then creating a climate of, if you will, of peace or nourishing actions and things. And so that's all of it. It might be a good opportunity to do some reflecting, and maybe, even some, Sarah brought her journal this morning, even some journaling at some point today, and maybe unravel some of the things where there has been some volatility inside of you on different, again, we've had so much opportunity to be in this space of conflict, if you will, and to look at that and say, what identity was I defending? It's like, where am I defending? And then how can I take, like, maybe that same subject matter and position it in such a way where I'm injecting, like, say, positive transformation, whether it's inside of myself or, or other ways. So that's all for chai and chat. And I did get a cup of chai on my way here. So this isn't just like a prop. So, and it was funny because when I was teaching at Samadhi, Amanda, AJ's here, who used to come to my Saturday morning Samadhi class on occasion, I would stop at Pablo's and get a cup of chai, which is just right down the street. So I did that this morning, and the person that helped me, I hadn't seen her in a year, and she's like, "How are you doing?" I'm like, I had even no idea that she would recognize me because we're all like masked up and things, and she did, and I was, because they closed, and I was thinking, God, I haven't been here in a year, and so this is just really fascinating day. Cheerios, friends. All right. So let's just come into a comfortable seated position if you aren't already. And break open the Shruti box again. There's a very special mantra. I know. So let the eyes gently close here. And the invitation will be to breathe into the belly. And the technique, as we may know, is we inhale, the belly expands outward. And as we exhale, the belly drops to the spine. And diaphragmatic breath. One may notice, and it's very purposeful, that it deregulates our sympathetic nervous system and allows for the parasympathetic nervous system to emerge, and this was calming to our nervous system. are vital. And the first thing that I'd like to suggest is that you offer healing and compassion to yourself. It's been such a heck of a year. And at points we've all become untethered from our energy of harmony. So just first forgive yourself. And then commit to being a witness to your actions and your thoughts and your words. So I commit to be a witness. And then to finally set the fulsome call to the full intention, maybe kind of excavate inside something that might not be so stable and could benefit from your witness capacity and also reformatting that energetic quality. And at the same time, continue to forgive yourself. And we'll chant the mantra of Om a couple times, and I'll chant a little thing, move our bodies. And so exhale your breathing completely. And take a nice big inhale here. And then again, another nice big inhale. Swastina Indra Vridashava Swastina Purusha Vishvavedaha Swastina Staksha Parishtini Swastina Vyaspatir Vidatu Om Swastina Indra Vridashava Swastina Purusha Vishvavedaha Swastina Staksha Parishtini Swastina Vyaspatir Vidatu Om Swastina Indra Vridashava Swastina Purusha Vishvavedaha Swastina Staksha Parishtini Swastina Vyaspatir Vidatu. And then Om together again, I'll translate it after. And we have the favor of the gods. And may our minds and intellect and all of our senses be purified so that we're able to perceive the highest truth. May we be protected from any negative influence. And may we have the support of the acharyas and the gurus, the teachers and the great beings. Thank you everyone for that. Stay seated for just a little bit, but you may want to slip off of your seated support if you're on a blocker like that. And then interlacing the fingers here, just extend the palms out, just stretching through the hands and the forearms. You kind of ground the head of the arm bone into the shoulder joint here. And then gently float the hands and arms over the head and just stretch for that. Take a moment here, allow a little bit of heat to begin to build in the shoulders and the upper back. And as you move here, I suggest that the movements and things have a subtle quality, a peaceful quality. A big inhale, and exhale, slowly float the hands and arms down, round a little back, sort of rocking back on the sacrum here, a little stretch to the back body, and then float the hands and arms back up. And just find your own rhythm and pacing with your breath. You know the word of peace in yoga, shanti. So there may be some inclusion of that word or that energy as you move through the practice here this morning. What happens with the body is as sensation becomes more prominent, there may be some form of, if you will, even judgment that comes into that. Oh, that feels good, or that doesn't feel good. The suggestion is to continue to sustain the mind of a samatha, and that means the mind of equanimity. And then we'll meet at the top here, pausing, and then just gently release the hands and arms shoulder height. The right palm turns up, the left palm turns down, and we'll just stir the upper arm bone in the shoulder joint. Just allow for that freedom to be, if you will. And then just begin to swim the arms a little bit here. So a little swimming up the arms, moving through the joint capsules, wrists, shoulders, elbows, all the things really. And then neutral position, eagle arms. So take a nice big inhale, and exhale, float the right arm under the left forearm. So Garuda Asana, eagle, and palms come together. Elbows out and up, shoulder blades down the back, and then just give the head a little bit of a gentle stir here. Just stretching the neck. Be mindful, of course, if there's any sensitivities, any injury things that are residue of that. I have a few of those, more than a few really. Then neutral position with the head, and then inhale, float hands and arms wide. And then exhale, switch it out. So the left under the right again, forms, palms come together, elbows out and up, shoulder blades down the back, and a little stir of the head. Yeah. Breathe in. And then neutral position with the head. Once again, inhale, float hands and arms wide. This time behind the back, and just interlace the fingers here. The head of the arm bones draw back, gaze goes up. Breathe very deeply. Maybe feeling the lungs, just allowing for the rib cage to open, the capacity for the breath to begin to expand some here. And gently soften the grip of the hands. Extend now the right arm out to the right, left palm turns up, and we'll put our arm up. And exhale over the head, just reach, reach, reach. You can ground this left knee a little bit and really engage the tricep of the left arm, and that will create some length in the side body here. And then we'll put a little bend in the elbow and just sink a little lower, going into that. Oh, yay. And then gently, float up to neutral. Exhale, sweep hand and arm down. Ground the fingertips to your left hand, right palm turns up, switching inhale, floats. Exhale over. Just breathe very deeply. Shanti, shanti, shanti. Peace. And then gently float up to neutral, and exhale, release the hand down into the palms. Turn open, inhale, float hands and arms over the head. We'll twist to the right, so spiral to the right. Release this left hand on the outside of that right knee. Right arm behind you. Reassert length in the spine, so sit tall. Look over the right shoulder and breathe into the belly. You may even feel this right lung expand with breath as that technique is discovered. And then a nice big inhale. And exhale, soften to neutral position. Your palms turn up, float hands and arms over the head. And then spiral to the left. Releasing that right hand close outside of the left knee. Reserve lengthen the spine, breathe into the belly. How we condition our yoga practice is essential energetically based upon qualities that we want to assimilate in our daily life. You see it all the time. Let's big inhale. And exhale, soften to neutral position. So we'll spin off of the seated position. So just make your way to a tabletop position when you're ready. So hands stack under the shoulders, knees, hips, and then circle the hips for a moment just to kind of unravel maybe any stickiness from that seated position. Include the rhythm of your breathing. And so as the torso and the heart floats forward, we can capture inhale and exhale, hips back. And then at the same time, feel free to just move intuitively here organically. So if there's any kind of sensation that appears through your movement, totally fine. Just feel. And then gently we'll move the other way. So just circle the hips the other way. Just reposition the body here. Okay, and then we'll come into puppy pose. Hips stay lifted here, heart sinks, forehead, earth, and just take a moment to feel into that sensation in the upper thoracic spine. Just feel into that. Hands ground, total belly here, and then inhale, float up, rounding into the upper back. Then just gently release the hips down here, and the gaze goes up. So there's kind of like a lazy down dog and a lazy upward facing dog. And then inhale, breath. And exhale, lift the hips back into that puppy pose kind of figure. And then once again, just find your own pacing, your own rhythm here. And just moving subtly at first, just being tender with the body, very nourishing. Don't have to push into the edges in any way that's overly assertive. Just peacefully moving. Nice, and then we'll come into a neutral position, a little twist coming up, and so ground the left hand under the face, inhale, float the right hand to the sky, give the wrist a spin, breathe very deeply here, and we'll thread the needle, big inhale, and exhale, float, right hand through on the inside, left shoulder, and ear to the mat, left hand reaches to the top edge of the mat, or so hips drift to the right, to seal the twist along the length of the spine, and again, as the sensation becomes more prominent in your experience, and just allow for that equanimity to continue to hold your gaze, if you will. Yeah, and then take a nice big inhale, and then exhale the left hand back underneath you, grounded, and then float the right hand to the sky. We'll switch this out, so when we're ready, grounding, right hand under the face, and we'll float left wrist spins, your breath is deep. Going into that. Big inhale and exhale, float now. Left hand through on the inside of the right shoulder, near to the mat. Right hand reaches top edge of the mat, hips left. And that'll refine the stretch. And nice big inhale and exhale now. This right hand back underneath you, counter twist, so left hand floats back up. Yeah. Pretty similar kind of opening sequence here. Take the hands off the mat to the right side, hips stay lifted, a big inhale, and then exhale, arcing into the left side body, forehead to or towards the earth, and just breathe very deeply. Oh yeah. And then gently float up to neutral. And then we'll switch this out, so hands off the mat to the left side. Same thing here. Nice big inhale, exhale, arcing into the right side body, forehead to and towards the earth, and the breath is deep. When we sustain the yoga pose, just allow for this kind of awareness capacity to expand, just being peaceful in the experience. Gently float up into a neutral position. So I'm just going to spin around the face here, extend when you're ready, and your foot will be off the mat, the right foot out to the right side, like so. The toes point forward. Yep. And then drift the hips back until you find a little contact, stretch that inner groin, and then bend the elbows and come onto the forearms. So the pelvis here is anteriorly pivoting, so it's rotating forward. So we find the stretch high on the inner groin. This thing is called the gracilis. Just kind of feel into that for a moment. Yeah. And then from here, check this out. Bend that right knee. Just shift the hip over to the right a little bit and just feel the grounding of the femur bone into the hip that way, yeah. And then straighten the leg back to neutral, and then firmly plant left hand. So we come up, and then right hand, another twist comes to the sky. So reach up, you breathe deeply. And then a nice big inhale, and exhale, reach this right hand as far forward as you can. Land it on the fingertips, and then sink the heart here. Come onto the elbow of that left arm once again. Just breathe deep here. Nice big inhale, and then exhale, right hand back underneath you, back to neutral position here, so tabletop, and we'll switch this whole system out. So extend the left leg, toes point forward here, hips drift back till you find that stretch of the inner groin, and then we come on to the forearms once again. Put a little energy to pull the pubic bone back so the pelvis is anteriorly rotating, and that refines again the stretch of the inner groin. And then bend that. Now left knee, just sink over to the left a little bit and just kind of feel the head of the femur bone kind of grounding into the pelvis, the acetabular, so it's called, to that. And then straighten that left leg around, right hand when you're ready, and then float left arm. Another nice little twist here. Stay with the breath. Yeah, and a big inhale, and exhale, float this left arm as far forward in front of you. Just ground on the fingertips, and then sink the heart once again. Breathe deeply, friends. And then a nice big inhale, and exhale back to neutral position here. Yeah, so back in the tabletop. I'm going to spin back around into my mat. Extend the right leg, long toes tuck under on the mat, so a little stretch to the bottom of the foot, the calf and Achilles, just to warm up, and then release and switch. So extend the left, just waking up our kind of into our downward facing dog, our Adho Mukha Svanasana posture when you're ready. So just walk the knees a little step behind the plane, the hips here, and then down dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Just take a moment and feel into this in any way that's supportive for you. A little bit of movements, this, that, or the other thing is all on me. Mukha Svanasana. Ground the roots of the fingers pretty significantly here, and you'll find that that then allows for the draping of the triceps to the earth to create a pretty strong extra rotation of the upper arm bones. Pubic bone can pull back, so we interiorly rotate the upper thighs. That has this tendency to pull the hips up and back in the form, which is ideal, so that supports the extension of the spine really nicely. And then put a little bend in the right knee, ground the right hand, stretch left, calf and Achilles, you can feel that. And straighten and switch, so that left knee, ground left hand, right calf and Achilles stretches. A little paddling between the two, a little wiggling here. And then just allow for the pose to be sustained. The breath is deep, and just put peace in your mind, in being here. And they surrender always. Child's pose, so knees to the earth, your hips and heels. Let the hands drift back to the ankles or feet, forehead, earth. Just take a moment. Now let that symbol, if you will, of child's pose, seed form, and take hold. So nice. The teachings guide us to understand that everything flows through Ahimsa. Everything does. So the rest of the yamas and niyamas, the base of any success or any advancement is to be nonviolent. Thought, action, word. The release of the defense of individual identity. And just gently release up into neutral position, tabletop. Tuck the back toes under, and exhale, lift the hips back into downward facing dog. So Adho Mukha Svanasana. And then little forward folds, so walk the feet to the hands here. Uttanasana, we know this as Uttanasana. Little space in between the feet, let the weight really ground into the big toe mounds. The feet, that allows the stretch to really be produced in the meat of the hamstring, the center of the back of the muscle, the leg. Give the head a little bit of a stir, yes and no. Feels good. You can even grab opposite elbows here. Create a little more traction in the spine that way. Just feeling, surrender into it. So let some softness come into the muscles. Notice sometimes in a yoga pose we will kind of create even systems of protection in a yoga pose. So as we find the edges of experience and soften delicately into those very fabric of the things that are holding the body. It's deep internal work, really. And then Ardha Uttanasana, so hands, mid chins, lengthen from tail to crown. Let the shoulders move away from the earth, so a little length in the front body. That way, feeling the shoulder blades on the back body. Inhale, breath. And then exhale, lengthen out as you pull down. The chin tucks, the hands can release at the same time. And then again, inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, half lift. Exhale, folding. We'll do one more of these. Inhale, half lift. And exhale, fold a little bit on the knees, and then send now the left leg back into the lunge. So Anjaneyasana Asana here. Come up on the fingertips so the stance is higher. Quad of the back leg is going to be engaged. The kind of the inner legs squeeze towards one another. Just again, take a moment for that. We'll move with the breath here. With an inhale, actually straighten the front leg, draw the forward towards the shin, so it'll stretch the hamstring and attract the outside of that right hip back. And then exhale, bending the front leg knee. And then again, just inhale deeply, kind of coinciding your movement with breath. Right? And then there's always this opportunity to breathe slower and move slower. It just feels like that may sustain kind of essence of peace a bit. And then from here, so we're back to neutral, walk this right foot over to the right, one little step, and then right foot on the inside of the right hand. And then inhale your breathing. And then exhale, bend the elbows and just sink into this right hip. Inhale, straighten the arms, will come out of it. So mobility first. Exhale, bend, sink. And then again, inhale, straighten arms. And exhale, bend. We'll sustain it. Now, you might even want to come onto the elbows if that depth of the hip is an access point for you. The back of the quad stays pretty firm here, though. So keep that active, and surrendering into the hip. Yeah. And then grounding firmly into this left forearm. Take the right hand to the sky. So a sweet little twist from this position. Breathe deeply. And then a nice big inhale. Exhale, gently float this right hand down. Ground right hand and just sweep this right leg back into a high plank position. Make any adjustments to your stance. That's helpful that way. I track my shoulders behind my wrist to flatten the angle of my wrist, and so my stance is a little longer. You know, you might want to experiment with that. It's just a suggestion. It feels kind of nice. And then float the right leg hip height there, and just breathe deeply. Stay with the breath. Then a nice big inhale, and exhale, right knee, right elbow. Give it a little squeeze in, and then inhale it behind you. And exhale, right knee, left elbow. Give it a little squeeze, and then inhale it behind you. And exhale, gently release it down, and then just stay with it here. So breathe deeply, continue to nourish the body with breath. And a big inhale, and exhale. Now left knee, left elbow, little squeeze and a kiss. And then inhale back behind you. And exhale, left to right, across the body, squeeze. And then inhale back behind you. Exhale, release it down. Inhale, breathing. And exhale to the knees, all the way to the belly. Bhujangasana, so cobra pose, grab tops of the feet, pelvis, hands all ground firm. And then inhale, float torso, shoulders, pivot away from the ears here. Hands firm, kind of isometrically tracking towards the waist. We'll pulse this a couple times. Inhale, breath. And exhale, float down. And then again, inhale, float on up. Exhale, float down. And then one more of these. Inhale, float on up, tuck the back toes under. And exhale, lift the hips back into down dog. Ooh, yay. Breathe deeply here. Yeah, nourish the body with breath. Stay with your breathing. And then we'll bend the knees and then send now the left foot to the left hand. Left foot, left hand. Come up onto the fingertips again. Back of the quad is firm. A little squeeze of the inner thighs. And if that's a little big, you know, for you, it's like isometrically, you're tracking the feet towards one another, and everything ends up right in the inner groin area. Yeah, it really stabilizes the form. And then with an inhale, straighten the front leg, draw the forward towards the shin, track the outside on that left and back. And then exhale, bend front leg knee 2 more times on your own. Breathing and moving peacefully. Yep. And then walk this now left foot over to the left one. We'll step. Left hand on the inside. Mobilizing the hip here. Inhale, breathing. Exhale, bend elbow sink. And then inhale, straighten arms. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. Last time. Exhale, bend, and just hang out down here. Again, maybe coming under the forearms if that access point is available for the hip. Back the quads and stay firm. Oh yeah, moving into that. Keep a little squeeze of the inner thighs. It's a little more subtle and refined in this position. And then ground now, that's right forearm. Left hand floats to the sky for that twist. Breathe in here. And then a nice big inhale, and then exhale, hand down, look down. The tricky thing here is we have to walk this left foot back over, so ankle, knee, hip align, then a big step with the back foot to the top of the mat to go forward, fold. Nice, friends. Inhale, flat back, half lift. Pause for a little bit on the knees, and then cactus arms, flat back to standing. So just come all the way up. Take a moment here, put a little sway in the body. Just a little bit of movement. Just let the energy move, things flow. Yeah. And then a nice big inhale, reach roll tall. Exhale, float the hands behind you and release the fingers here. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, hinge the hips, little bend the knees, folding forward here. So sweet. Off a little back. Hands and arms float over the head. Just feeling into that. Nice big inhale. And exhale, gently release the grip of the hands here. And then send now the right leg back into the lunge. Right leg goes back. Then inhale, float torso and arms. We come into what's called Asana. Yeah, reach in, stay with the breath. So in this form, there's different things that we can do with this back foot. I'm an advocate of lifting the heel completely, and that seems to open up this hip flexor on this right side specifically a lot, and just reach as tall as you can. So kind of the karma of the shoulder blades are actually to lift. So let them unhook on the back. Just extend up, a big inhale, and exhale, float left hand, left waist. Then inhale, reach the right hand forward, fist with this right hand, elbow on the outside of the near thigh, sinking armpit to knee. And then the left hand covers the right hand, track the outside. That left hip back, stay with your breathing. Back the quad is firm. Some of you may want to open arms. So right hand to the earth, left hand to the sky. Feel into that. And then others may want to even take the left arm over the head towards the front of the room. That's a whole lot. Stay with your breathing. Yay. And then a nice big inhale. And then exhale, hand down, look down, plant, step back into high plank. I push up here. Ooh. Take a moment. Oh yeah. A nice big inhale, and exhale to the knees again, to the belly. Bhujangasana, once again, a little higher pitch this time, so ground everything, float on up. A little higher, shoulders move away from the ears here. Yeah. And then a nice big inhale. Exhale, look over the right shoulder. Inhale, center, neutral. Exhale, look over the left shoulder. Inhale, center, neutral. And exhale, float down. And then again, inhale, float on up. Exhale, look right. Inhale, center. Exhale, look left. Inhale, center. Exhale, float down. Last one, we'll hold our breath in. So inhale, float on up. Hold the breath and just pause here. And tuck the back toes under and exhale, lift hips. Oh, yeah. Ooh. Just generating a little more heat here. Stay with the breath. Up a little bit on the knees, and then step now the right foot to the right hand. Anjaneyasana into Vajrasana. So runner lunges, Anjaneya, reach in again, heel lifting, arms extending up, 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 up. Stay with the breath. Yeah, big inhale, and exhale, right hand, right waist. Inhale, reach the left hand forward, fist left hand, so twisting to the right elbow, now set the near thigh, sinking armpit to knee. Right hand covers the left. Right shoulder moves away from right ear, back the quad stays firm. And then we can open arms if you choose, left hand earth, right hand stars. And then once again, if you choose, just right arm over the head and just lengthen here. Breathe very deeply. Yeah, nice big inhale. Exhale, hand down, look down, everyone back with steps to the top of the mat. Oh, yay. Pause here, nourish the body. Breathing deeply. And then inhale, half lift. Again, take a moment. And we'll micro bend the knees and then cactus arms, flat back to standing. Reach to the sky. And then just a little sway in the body. And then exhale, you're breathing completely. Take a nice big inhale, hold the breath in. And gently float the arms down by the side. Circle, little bend the knees. Eyes can close. Take a moment. Just feel Shanti. Thought, action, and word. Nice. And gently opening us here. Toe heel the feet together. And Utkatasana, so chair pose. You're going to put the hands and arms to the sky. Exhale, bend the knees and see. So we're going to just work this a little bit. Stay with your breath. If there's any sensitivity in the shoulder joint, you can always lower the arms a little bit. Inhale, breath. And exhale, float the hands behind you. And then a little roll of the shoulders here. Going into that. And then lift the elbows behind you. That's it. And then inhale, sweep arms up, straighten legs, so come out of it. Exhale, bend. Inhale, breath. Exhale, elbows back. Inhale, sweep up, straighten legs. Exhale, bend. Inhale, breath. Exhale, float arms behind you. Inhale, float on up. This will be the last time. Exhale, sink, but pause here. Big inhale. And exhale, hands to prayer, and then twist to the right. So left elbow on the outside of the ear, thigh sinking on hip to knee. You can track the outside of the left hip back, and right shoulder away from right ear here. Just breathe. Some of you may want to open arms. You can do that left hand earth, right hand sky. It's a lot. Yep. A nice big inhale. And exhale, hand down, look down. Then inhale, back up into Utkatasana. Yeah. Give the legs a little bit of a bounce. And what's happening in the quads. Inhale, you're breathing. Exhale, hands to prayer. And twist now to the left. So sinking armpit to knee. Check the outside. And now that right hip back, left shoulder, away from left ear, open arms. Stay with your breath. Oh yeah. And a nice big inhale. Exhale, hand down, look down. Then inhale, back up into Utkatasana. And once again, give the legs a little bit of a bounce. I see that inhale, come out of it, reach real tall. Oh yay. Exhale, swan back, roll forward. Always feels great to get out of that. Nicely, inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold the knees, plant hands, and go through a vinyasa. And we'll meet in down dog. So how you get there is up to you. So a little flow, and movement into downward facing dog. Nice, friends. And then child's pose. Just take a moment, relax. Let everything kind of settle. And we'll meet back in downward facing dog. So inhale, tabletop. Tuck the back toes under, exhale, lift the hips down dog. Good, we draw one warrior one right here. So right foot steps right hand, left heel pivots down, come to stand in here. Take a moment to square off the hips, honor the width of your stance with the width of your hips. Quad active back like little, squeeze the inner thighs, float hands and arms to the sky. Stay with your breathing. Maybe explore sinking a little deeper into the form. Yep. And then with an inhale, cactus the arms here. Just let the heart flourish. A nice big inhale, and exhale, pulse forms towards one another. Then inhale, sweep open. And exhale, pulse. And again, inhale, sweep open. Exhale, pulse. And then inhale, palms together, arms up, gaze up. Breathe deeply. Yeah, big inhale. Exhale, float hands behind you, interlace fingers. Inhale, lengthen from spine, grow tall. And exhale, back to horse on the inside of this right leg, hands and arms over the head. Nice. And then inhale, foot back halfway. And then modified warrior three, so release the back foot, point the heel to the sky, step the foot in. And then inhale, straighten this front leg and lift the back leg. Stay with your breathing. Shoulders move away from the ears. And hands to prayer at the heart. Pause there for a moment. Then hinging at the hips, folding forward to a standing split here. Stay with your breathing forward towards the shin. Oh, yay. And then a careful bend in the knees of the stand leg. Release the back foot down. Float hands and arms, reach tall. Exhale, hands to the waist. Inhale, straighten the front leg. And then exhale, pivot to the left, 180 degrees. So spin all the way around on your mat. We have to step the right foot out to keep the hips tracking. The stance tracking rather with the hips. And when you're ready, float hands and arms to the sky. So Virabhadrasana going the other way. Firm up the back of the quad, we'll squeeze of the inner thighs. Breath is deep. Inhale, you're breathing, reach. Exhale, cactus. The arms here, pause. Inhale, you're breathing. Exhale, pulse forms towards one another. Then inhale, sweep open arms. And then exhale, pulse. And one more time, inhale, sweep open. Exhale, pulse. Inhale, reach hands and arms to the sky, palms together, gaze up. Exhale, hands behind you, and release the fingers. Inhale, extend front spine, grow tall, just move peacefully. Exhale, bow the torso on the inside of this left leg now. Stay with the breath. Ooh. And then inhale, halfway up. And then release the back foot, so again, modified warrior 3. Heel points to the sky, that squares the hip, and then inhale, straighten the stand leg, this left leg. Float that right leg up, so again, modified warrior 3. Shoulders away from the ears here. And then hands to prayer. And then standing split, so just bow, hands to the earth, wherever it's comfortable for you. Stay with the breath. And a careful bend of the stand leg knee, release the back foot down. Then inhale, float hands and arms over the head. So warrior 1, once again, gaze up. Okay, nice big inhale. Exhale, hands to the waist. Inhale, straighten the front leg. Exhale, pivot 180 degrees. Once again, warrior 2, stand on now. So I'm just going to switch. Stand so we can face everyone. Camera. So arms float, shoulder height. Breathe in. Yeah. Put a little pulse in this front leg. Stay with your breath and then just sink a little lower. Go into that squeeze inner thighs and then Parsvakonasana, extended side angle. So right forearm, right thigh. Left palm turns up in the float, arm over the head. Stay with your breath. Heart keeps spinning open. Ground the back foot. Firm by engaging the back of the quad. And reach the fingertips of that left hand with a great deal of intention. Yeah, so even the hand is strong. Yep. And then straighten this right arm. And then sink a little deeper into that right hip. Stay with your breath. Okay. And then reverse warrior here. So inhale, straighten the front leg. Left hand, left leg, right arm over the head. Just breathe very deeply. And then nice big inhale. And exhale, hands and arms shoulder height, thumbs to the sky. So Trikonasana prep, triangle prep, a big inhale. Next, we'll just pivot forward. When the hip stops moving, then we just tip, reaching right hand to earth, left hand stars. Stay with the breath, gaze can go up and just happy for your neck. Different things, yeah. And the big inhale. And exhale, left hand to the sacrum. Ardha Chandrasana, half moon, bend, look down, bend the front leg, knee, step the back foot in, plant the front hand in front of the front foot, then inhale, straighten the front leg and lift the back leg. Heart keeps spinning open. Then float the left arm to the sky. And some of you may want to bend this left knee, capturing the foot or ankle, turning into a little back bend. So squeeze the heel towards the buttocks and kick the foot into the hands. Stay with your breathing. And then gently release the foot if you have it. We'll revolve this. So release the left hand down, square the hips, keep the leg lifting. And then float the right arm to the sky. Oh yeah, breathe in. Parivrtta Ardha here. And then the careful bend and stand like knee warrior 2 is the destiny here. And so come on up, arms float shoulder height. Take a couple of very deep, nourishing breaths here. And nice big inhale. Exhale, hands to the waist. Inhale, straighten front leg, pivot, right foot in. Left foot turns open. Virabhadrasana, warrior 2 going the other way. And then just kind of bend in this front leg knee when you're ready. Pulse a little bit, arms shoulder height, of course. And then sink real low, as low as comfortable. And then Parsvakonasana, extended triangle. So left forearm, left thigh, right arm over the head. Just reach, reach, reach. Create some space in the body. So really ground, back foot, quad active, back leg. Reach to the fingertips significantly with this right arm. Heart keeps spinning open. And then straighten the left arm and reach the fingertips towards the earth to create a little depth in that left hip. Oh yay, breathe here, exhale, breath. Reverse warrior, inhale, straighten front leg, right hand, right leg, left arm over the head. Oh yay, breathe in. And a nice big inhale. And exhale, hands and arms, shoulder height, thumbs to the sky. Trikonasana triangle, big inhale. And exhale, just reach forward, hips moving around the head of the femur bone. When it stops, then you just tip, reaching left hand earth, right hand stars. That's it. Big inhale. Exhale. Right hand to the sacrum. Heart spins open. Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. Bend front leg knee. Step the back foot in. Plant the front hand in front of the front foot. Inhale, straighten that front leg. Lift the back leg. Float the right arm when you're ready. Stay with the breath. Some of you may want to capture that right ankle. Turn it into a little more of a back bend, kicking the foot into the hand, squeezing that right shoulder blade towards the spine. And if you have the foot move, release it. Parivrtta Ardha Chandrasana, so revolved half moon, right hand reaches to the earth, hips square off, leg stays lifted, float the left arm. Breathe in, stay with the breath. And then again, Virabhadrasana 2, warrior 2. Carefully bend, standing leg knee. Release the back foot down. Float arms, shoulder height. Yay, big inhale, breath. Exhale, hands to the waist. Inhale, straighten just the left leg, turn just the left toes in part. Prasarita Padottanasana. We know this is wide legged angle forward fold. Inhale, you're breathing. Exhale, hinging at the hips, folding forward. Release the hands towards or to the earth. Head releases, and then pivot the weight so it's in the big toe mounts decidedly. And again, you'll notice that the stretch moves into the meat of the hamstring that way. Good. Stay with the breath. And then inhale, half lift here. Little twist coming. Plant the left hand under the face. And then inhale, take the right hand to the sky. Breathe. And a nice big inhale. And then exhale the hand down, look down. And we'll switch. So now float left arm, float up with that twist. That's it. And then gently release the arm. And then kind of we'll flirt with what's called Skandasana. So bend both of the knees and then just float the hands over to the right. Lift the left toes and come onto the right. Big toenail looks like this. You got it. And just kind of feel into the high inner groin. Stretch of the left leg at the gracilis. And then some of you, so we kind of worked up to this, might want to try a blind. And so we're deep into this right hip. Open this right arm, turn the thumb down, and then just bend the elbow behind you, and maybe the left arm can release behind as well. It can be a little tricky for balance and different things. Stay with the breath. And then gently release the bind if you have it. And then just walk the hands over to the other side, switching sides. So just be really kind of tender with your body as you move to the other side. So kind of feeling into it first, let that stretch merge in the bacillus of that right leg, and then sinking into left hip, opening arms, possibly a little blind there too. Stay with the breath. Nice and done, friends. And gently release the bind here, and we'll come back into Prasarita Padottanasana, so that standing wide-legged forward fold. So you have to kind of reset the feet here. Get a little more out of it. That's it. And then inhale, half lift. Exhale, hands to the waist, little bend the knees, no flat back to standing. We go. And just pivot the right foot, and we step this back foot to the top of the mat. Give it a little bit of a shimmy, a little bit of a shake. Take a moment, and then let the feet be the width of the hip. Bend the knees. Let the weight drift into kind of the heels a little bit, and then create an oval shape with the arms. And close the eyes. It's called Uji. It's empty state. It's peaceful. Thanks, friends. And just gently open the eyes here. Let the toes turn open, Malasana. We know this is Garland. For those who are squatting position, just bend the knees. Come on down, hands to prayer. Be mindful if there's any sensitivities, knees, hips, things that way. Just kind of dangle in the hips here. Ooh. And once again, a little twist so the right hand can reach the sky, the left. Right hands. You're going down about it. Big inhale, next back to neutral, and then just move to the other side, so grabbing and reaching. And then gently release to neutral position here, hands prayer. And then hands behind you, and gently release the hips down. Take a moment, soften into the hips for a moment. Re-access what's happening in the hips. And then from here, Upa Vista Konasana, so wide-legged forward fold. And so separate the feet, legs in a V shape. And then from this position, and if you're kind of feeling like the energy of the pose is drifting back a little bit, you can sit on a blanket. It's a good thing. And that just helps anteriorly pivot the pelvis. And then from here, we'll anteriorly rotate the upper thighs manually each. So pull the hamstrings out. And then spread the toes. So the toes spread, and that engages the quads, which helps ground the backs of the legs. And then from here, take the hands behind you. Lengthen the spine, and just close the eyes. Take a moment here. Allow for the stretch to reveal itself in the inner groins. It's usually pretty obvious. But then bring your mind there, that stretch, and then imagine, then as you inhale, you can draw that energy from underneath you into the stretch, into the inner groins, into the pelvic floor. There's this incredible connection that we understand in yogis, and that's the connection between chitta, which is the individuated conscious field, and prana, life force energy. It's kind of that old saying where where your attention goes, energy flows. In this way, we can just move the prana into the body to support its activation. And it might even be a little more intense when we do that. It's just purifying inside, but then relax the inner groins as best you can. So whatever kind of softening of the muscles, whatever kind of sense of peace can emerge in. Oh. Breathing into the pelvic floor. Just gently open the eyes here. And extend the hands in front of you. We're not quite done though. So ground the hands. The suggestion will be to keep the front spine long. There's a tendency to ground like this. And just maybe do that as an experiment. Feel what's happening on the sits bones, and you'll feel the sits bones release up instead of ground down. When we go like this, there's more pressure on the root of the spine. And then begin to crawl the hands forward. And isometrically, we're kind of drawing the hands back, and that's anteriorly moving the pelvis forward. And then just a little more. Then go to whatever capacity feels the best for you. And I don't know, there was one day where I was doing this pose, and I'm like, I can do this. I can go all the way down. And my body was just like, okay. But until that day emerges. And then gently walk the hands back towards the pelvis. We're not quite done though. So a pirouette, I call it twisting to the right, and then kind of lean over to the right, and take this left hand up the shin to maybe the knife edge, and then spread the toes of the left foot. And breathe very deeply. Oh, yay. It's just a massive stretch for the body. And then little toning of the core, walk the hands up the legs to come out of it. So it always just kind of protects when you go from stretching to strengthening. Body sometimes have difficulty responding to that. So pirouette to the other side, lean that way, and then right hand up the calf, left leg, spread the toes, now the right foot. So create this kind of opposing quality of energies. Gently low to the spine, walk the hands back up on that left leg. Take a minute and just kind of feel how the energy flows to the body. And just notice that when the mind is being directed into settled apparatus, to access that, there's peace. There's equanimity. It's only when the mind is accessing the apparatus of the ego is when there is violence. The nature of spirit, friends, is just pure peace. Gently, here we'll bring the hands to the inner knees here. Just wiggle the legs out of that. Take them on and let the hips kind of collect themselves. And then extend the legs out, hands to the shins. This is called Paschimottanasana, and it's west facing stretch. And then again, the action is up. And we're kind of energetically kind of pulling the legs into the pelvis. The core the belly can come to the spine. And then just let the hamstrings slowly release and migrate
form. So there's still this intention of moving up. And you can even kind of round into it and feel the pressure release from the sits bones. We just want to sustain that kind of quality of extension and grounding. So as the body accommodates the form, sink a little deeper. And nice big inhale. And then exhale, drape. Ribs over the thighs, release the head down is all fine. Breathe into the belly here to feel the pressure come into the back body, the ribs, kidney area. Deep breathing. And then notice where there's holding, and then let everything relax. So just soften. So the energy that maybe you even used to create the form, let that dissipate. Soften internally. It's an interesting dance in the practice of yoga asana where we use effort to create form. And there's always this kind of suggestion of effortlessness, this sense of ease, even. It's a remarkable idea, I think. Belly to the spine, walk the hands up the legs to come out of the sit down. And for those of you who are here in the room, I'm going to ask you to spin 180 degrees around on your mat so your head is at the top of the mat, and we'll come down onto our backs gently. Use your core, however that works for you is okay by me. We're just on our backs, extend the hands and arms long over your head, so a nice full body stretch. You can point and flex the feet here. And then hugging the knees into the chest, give them a little squeeze. You're going to rock side to side. We'll move into our inversion. It's called Viparita Karani Mudra. We know this as reverse posture seal, legs up the wall, half shoulder stand position, or the body takes a V shape, different things. So ground the hands, get a little momentum with the feet and the legs, and lift the hips. Hands to the low back, of course. It's a little hard to talk. And when I move up into that, so my words get compressed in my throat. Yeah, and sink the hips into the hands here. You can close the eyes if you like. What's relevant about this form is the word mudra. It means a lock or seal, and with a little kink of the hips and the neck, we're directing the inner kind of quality of energy. It balances what are called the 5 pranavayus. Very special pose. It's considered, if you will, the only one that actually balances the energy body in its entirety in one fell swoop. And then a little bend in the knees, begin to make a way out of it. Ground the hands on the earth and gently let the hips float down to the earth. Hug the knees last time. Here, a little hug of the knees. Mm-hmm. And then extend the legs out. The feet roll open here. So pre-shavasana, breath retention. We'll just do one of these with the belly pushed out. So stay with me here. Exhale your breathing completely. And then take a nice big inhale. Hold the breath in. Wait on it. Push out the belly. Keep holding the breath. Very gently exhale your breathing.
occasion there'll be kind of an energetic sensation internally. It's fine. Just get comfortable for Shavasana, however that may be helpful for you. So good bunny. Just kind of settle in. Allowing for the peaceful nature of practice of Shavasana to reveal itself. Maybe holding in the body or otherwise. You can just let go. So your body melts. Notice the sensation of stillness, sensation of peace. And it's actually an entity. And gently let the rhythm of your breathing expand into the belly. And just notice the peace is still there. It's its own sensation. Gently let the breath lengthen, deeper now, coming back into the body, movement of the fingers, toes, and things. At some point, let the arms stretch over the head, longer, and up on our left side. Hug the knees, left side, ready. Gently come to seated position. So we'll have another, say, 15 minutes or so of practice for a more brief set of pranayama and a meditation. But it's suggested to get really comfortable in a seated position, and so having a little support under the pelvis can be helpful. Letting the knees ground onto the earth. Shirt on. Just make sure the body's very comfortable as well. So even if you're masked here, we can still do our pranayamas that I've selected here this morning. The first is called Loma Pranayama, and it means reverse breathing. But the technique is using the full yoga breath, which is belly expanding, ribs expanding, and the chest lifting and expanding. We inhale in 5 steps with 5 equal sips of air, with 5 pauses in between each sip of air of equal duration. An example would be we inhale for 2 or 3 counts and then stop the breath for 2 or 3 counts. And again, inhale for 2 or 3 counts, stop the breath. 5 sips in, and then 1 exhale. And then sometimes it's a little challenging to get used to the timing of the 5 sips. And don't get hung up on that at all. It's just 5 sips in, 5 pauses, 1 exhale. Okay. So just closing the eyes when you're ready. We'll take a couple warm-up breaths of like a full yoga breath here. So inhaling, expand the belly, and then let the ribs expand. And then the chest lift and expand. And exhale whenever it's comfortable for you. So just a deep yoga breath. Again, the belly expands, ribs and chest. Another full inhale. Exhale. And then begin below pranayama on your own. 5 sips of breath, 5 pauses, 1 exhale. Really allow the time that the pause is taking place to feel the stillness and to feel the peace. And allow for that to fabricate the nervous system. And with your next exhalation, just complete the practice here. Just take a moment. Keep the eyes closed here. The next practice is very simple. It's called Dirga Vrejam Pranayama. And it simply means extended exhalation. So we'll take a full yogic breath on an inhale. And then lengthen the exhale as long as comfortable with this guidance to completely go to the very, very bottom of your exhale, no matter what. This practice, while it's a beginning practice, can also be highly advanced. The only difference is the length and the time that you take the exhale. It's common that the nervous system begins to ping at you at the bottom of that exhale, demanding breath. And that's okay. It's best to explore the very edge of the capacity of the breathing. very purifying. And it can generate so much prana. With your next exhalation, complete this practice and releasing the breath from modification entirely. Just allow for a sense of feeling very grounded to emerge. A great sense of ease in the body. And then direct the drishti, the inner gaze, to what's called Hridayam. This is your heart center. Its specific location is 3 to 4 fingerlets deep inside the chest cavity, behind the very bottom part of your sternum. Once that directed perception is revealed, as you now breathe subtly and tone the mantra of Om, both as you inhale and exhale so vocally. So just in mind, but in the heart mind of Hridayam. The essence or the core of Om is Shanti, is peace, and Prema, love. Just gently let the mantra subside. Just abide in its Shakti, its energy of peace. Just feel chant a little mantra here. Towards the end, I'll invite us to chant 1 and 3 shanties together. Om Gyata Shantirantarikshan Shantihi Iti Shantiravaha Shantir Oshataya Shantihi Namaspataya Shantir Vishve Deva Shantir Brahma Shanti Sarvam Shanti Shantireva Shanti Sama Shantirehi. Om Tri Shanti Siva. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sarva Krishna Shishantya Bhavatu. Great Spirit, may there be peace in the heavens, may there be peace in the sky, may there be peace on the earth, and peace in the waters, may there be peace in the plants and peace in the trees, may there be peace in the gods, in the absolute God and all of nature. Let there be peace. And let that everlasting peace be ours. All peace, peace, peace. And may all of our difficulties be dispelled. And just a sense of gratitude for our opportunity to share these practices together. Gratitude for the opening of Ahimsa yoga into the teachings of yoga. Stay. To the friends here on the stream, thank you very much for again rejoining these practices. I'm honored and grateful. Thanks, Lori. Yeah, Shanti, 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 and all the rest will be here on Saturday. And just a little reminder for the Venmo thing, and yeah, just take a moment, today, maybe journal again when we're still in this, state of experience. Thanks, Tammy. And always remember to love peace. Love peace, friends. Take care. Thanks, Bill.